Sure. Well, if you haven't noticed, there's been a major movement going on nationally and actually internationally, not just in the United States. It all started here where I live in New York, where people started congregating near Wall Street. It's still not really clear what their focus is. In fact, I'd go so far as to say they really need a Mockingjay. I'd just go out on a limb and say that, because they don't really have any great sense of purpose or leadership other than that they all have a legitimate gripe about something. And it comes from being, as they call it, 99%. They're the 99% of humanity in the United States that have such a small percentage of the money. And, this brings back to mind other times of great financial inequality. I don't know how many of you out there, maybe in school, had to read A Tale of Two Cities, but I remember, I think in France, that 1% of the population owned over 99% of the wealth, and 99% owned 1% or less, and that led to a French Revolution. Obviously, this is a complicated issue. It's not all so cut and dry, but the fact is there is a tremendous amount of economic inequality. And by the way, to the 1%, if you're listening out there, I do apologize if you want to donate to our show. We'll be more than happy to take some of your 1%.
I like that idea.
But that being said, no, I think it's really inspiring, no matter how you look at it, to see that people who have really suffered because of this economy standing together and trying to stick up for something. And it made me think, what an interesting idea for this episode. So I first asked, let me see, who's a financial expert here? I know Mrs. Orman would definitely know this kind of thing, listening to the show through Twitter. But what do you think the economic distribution is in Panem? Does anybody want to try to tackle that? I know that's a hard question, but think of what the Capitol owns and what District 12 owns. Any takers? I know it's tough.
I mean, I think it's probably very similar to what we're currently seeing in the United States, which is very scary. Because
I would definitely say the 1%.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Shylah. Yeah, go on.
The 99% owning wealth is definitely the capital, and then the 1% I feel like is distributed unfairly between the districts. It's not like each district is getting 1/12 of 1%. It's obviously 1, 2, and 4 getting 80%, and District 12 getting 2% or something. 2% of 1%.
Right. Yeah. Theresa, you always have these, and that's what I was saying before, these great facts that you'll pull out of nowhere that no one else knows. You must have thought about this.
Well, I'll have to pull it out of somewhere. I mean, as far as distribution, I mean, I agree with Shylah. I've said before, when we look at with the tesserae and everything, they tend to, the capital is where all the wealth is. There, and then you've got scattered between, 1, 2, 4 and such through your career districts, and then everybody else just gets scraps. So it's whatever, they're dealt the hand, and that's how the capital feels they can maintain control. They need certain things from, especially with 1 and 2, with their luxury items and stuff, and they want those kind of things. So they'll reward in a certain way, I think, certain districts based on what products they produce and what they do and how loyal perhaps they are, and perhaps the way that the careers are trained and the way they look at the Hunger Games, or how the Capitol sees them look at the Hunger Games, gives them the, they're looked at a little bit more and maybe rewarded for that a bit more. Whereas the other districts, it's, they don't see them as anything valuable, so why reward it?
Right.
Which is a sad way to do it, but that appears to be, what they do as far as it goes, and it's, then that, but of course, where does the rebellion stem? And it starts with the people who are, being deprived the most. they begin, they're the ones, that's where their spark's going to start. So, anyway.
No, thank you. No, very, very well said. And as you did not fail to deliver the informative answer I was looking for, so thank you. Let me actually turn to Sam Cushion over here. This is my warning, put on the spot. Now, I'm noticing he's been a little bit quiet, and this is what I think is going on. I have a theory that his music has been so good and selling so well that Sam is sheepishly joins the 1%. Because his music is so good. Is there any truth to that at all, Sam, or is that not the case?
Oh yeah, you know it. I mean, I'm having a gold line swimming pool built right now as we speak. I just can help it.
So, well, I'll tell you this: if Sam is legitimately probably not in the 1%, he should be for the talent that he has. So let's help. Let's go to iTunes, buy his albums, and help put him in the 1%. Because I'm sure, if you haven't noticed, from all the times he's given back to this fandom, that Sam is not one of the 1% who you'd be protesting against. If anything, he'd be like the Bill Gates, Warren Buffett type who would be giving back. So, Sam, for all your hard work, we hope you get in the 1%. And
well, thank you.
Enjoy the luxury of being that generous someday.
Okay.
We have one more person we've not heard a lot from tonight. Yeah, Savanna, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, well, you can talk to her in a second, sorry. But what's scary to me is that I see what's happening in our country now. The unemployment rate is skyrocketing. The rich are getting richer. I mean, look at who is controlling, the wealth in this country. It's not the majority of the population. And with these Occupy movements that are springing up all over the world, you can see just how dissatisfied, discontent people are getting. And I see so many parallels between our current situation and Panem. I start wondering, are we really headed down that path, that kind of a road that would lead us to a future like that. And it's worrisome. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime, but, it's something that I think about and worry about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I worry about it too, to be honest. Not to go all serious for a second, but I think there are a lot of signs that, that we're kind of at a pivotal moment where things can either sort of turn back in the right direction or go horribly wrong. Anyway, that's your dose of pessimism for this week. Let me just ask our very dear friend who's not been on for a long time, Kim Denny Ryder, you deserve a little bit of some floor time here because you haven't gotten to speak. Based on everything you've heard, is there anything that you would like to say to contribute to this conversation?
I have to agree with everyone with, the Occupy Wall Street and all the comments you guys have made. It's very scary to watch what's going on in the country and see where all the money's going and where it can't go. And it makes me really disheartened to see, all the education money being taken away and all this other stuff, and the rich just keep getting richer, and the things that really need money keep having it, pulled. I know, Savanna, you teach, so I know in schools you probably see, funding for language and arts and music. And
absolutely. There is no money anymore.
Yeah, it's really disheartening to see, if you can't provide money for an education program, what does that say about how we invest in our future? The future of our country is our children, and if you can't provide them with the things they need to push them in a direction, then where does your savior come from? Essentially, in terms of who we want running the country in 40 years when they're of age. It's really just sad to see everything that's happening, but I'm glad that people are finally standing up to do something about it and fighting that the rich should not be getting richer. It's just, I have to agree with what everybody else said. I don't think I can add much more.